there's still that younger me inside just wanting to scratch that itch, like wanting to prove everyone else wrong and wanting all this to work out for everything that I put into it. And eventually, and I'm gonna say like within like a year from now, eventually I have to come to terms to that this isn't working. It's not gonna work. You've given it plenty of time. If something would have happened, it would have happened already. I understand there was a pandemic going on, but still, like let's just erase one whole year, 2 years, and nothing's happened. What more could I do? And the answer obviously is just gonna be nothing. Go ahead, ask me anything. I've been studying all week.
Okay. So, gonna start off with the hardest question. What would you like to be called? Would it be Strawl, or is there something else?
Straw's fine.
Okay. Roughly, and you don't have to give your exact age, but roughly how old are you?
Late 20s.
Okay. Where were you born, and where do you live now?
The same place I was born, in Virginia.
Oh, okay. Is it Virginia or West Virginia?
No, it's Virginia.
Okay. Let's see. One day I'll have these questions memorized. No, oh my, almost broke here. Okay, so, all right. What languages do you speak, and which are you interested in learning?
I speak English, and I've been interested in learning Spanish. So I bought Rosetta Stone when they're having that lifetime deal. You can get learn as many languages as you want for $180.
Mm-hmm.
And that was for a lifetime for all languages.
Oh, okay. How do you compare Rosetta Stone with Duolingo?
I haven't actually used Duolingo, but I think Duolingo is more aggressive, and they're wanting you to learn a language than Rosetta Stone. Rosetta Stone is more like, here's a picture, we're gonna say the word, and that's what it means, which is, I guess, fine for some people, but I don't know. I never really learned another language, so it doesn't seem natural to learn a language that way.
Through Duolingo or through Rosetta?
Oh, through Rosetta Stone.
Okay. Yeah, I've always wanted to see what that's about. I have tried Duolingo, but all right. So, sorry to do this to you, but I'm going to ask the most controversial, difficult, heart-pounding question. Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay. What is your favorite color?
It's a sage. It's a dark green. It's probably the dark spots on the grass right over there.
Okay, yeah. Got it. Nice choice. And then the actual question. Well, one question before that. So, what brings you to be your best self?
I think honestly just the way I was brought up. I've always wanted when I was little, I always just wanted friends because I grew up in a very sheltered life. So I joined Boy Scouts and helped people when I was very, very young. And I never really had that selfish act to want to harm someone. But then as I got older and people started harming me, I can see how people if they grew up in that environment, that's how they would want to turn out. And then I've also seen like they grew up that way, but they don't want to share that pain with other people. So, I mean,
well, I definitely love that.
I think
answer.
majority of it. I think definitely majority is that it's your environment, the way you grow up, and the way that you were raised, and what your, parents or whoever, like maybe your guardian is responsible for you. That lets you get away with stuff.
Yeah, I mean, parents or guardians are the sole reason for quite a lot of learned behaviors. And if a child grows up and he's super violent and frustrated, like it doesn't just come from nowhere. He had to have learned it or seen it somewhere else. So that raises a really good point. And the last question before we get into it is, on a scale of 0 to 10, how truthful are you with yourself? Where 10 is, I never lie to myself. 0 being, I lie to myself all the time.
8. It's mostly with like procrastination. I'll say like, oh, I'll do this, tonight, and then, I forget about it, or just like, I'll do it tomorrow.
All right, fair answer. So, with that being said, the floor is yours. We usually talk about problems people have dealt with in the past or that they're dealing with now, so on and so forth. What would you like to talk about today?
Well, I'll tell you about like what's been going on with me, because it's been like a stressful like last week. But I want to ask you a question first, just to like break the ice.
Okay.
How do you feel about so there was this couple I saw in the news, this woman who was 23 and her husband was 25, were trying to have a baby together, and they both had difficulties on each side of getting pregnant. Well, she got pregnant, and the baby was like due in, I think they said December, and the wife got an abortion because she said the astrology sign of hers and her husband wasn't compatible, without the husband's consent or knowing. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I'll just say the obvious, like that sucks. It's funny in like a dark humor way, and dark humor gets me. I know there'd be a group of people that would be like, my body, my choice. And yeah, I'm not completely against that. But yeah,
I'm not against that. But if you can abort the child and the man doesn't want it, he should be able to abandon the child.
Hold on, I have to process that. You said if he doesn't want it, he should be able to abandon it?
Yeah. Like, he's like, I don't... So let's just say, like, you get a girl pregnant, and, you're like, I don't want the child. And then she's like, well, I want a child. So you're going to have to pay child support. You're like, no. I mean, if she has the right to kill the baby without your consent, you should have the right to at least do something. Not just be stuck with the child that you may or may not want.
Okay, so I gotta be sweet.
Maybe not like
here.
Abandon it.
Yeah, well, so I mean, you can't expect a counselor to possibly side with abandoning a child, seeing how all like statistical criminal activity is spawned from lack of like a parental figure. Yeah, so it's like I would want to make an assist like over to adoption at least, not like completely leave the mom to And then like this also goes into
Right.
like, why did you get with this person in the first place? You know, it was the baby conceived by accident? Like, there's so many factors.
According to the article, yeah, they said if it happened, it happened.
So like it was an accident.
They weren't the way that from the news articles reading is that they weren't like trying to prevent anything. So from what I understand, yes, it was an accident. But they both talked about if they have a baby, they want a baby. So in the news article, they were asking advice, and you can like type in a comment with like your Facebook account, and a lot of people were saying, "Why are you sleeping on the couch still? I would have divorced her and left." And just said that's not how you want to share your life with someone, or how you want to raise a kid with them.
Yeah, I mean, I would wrap that situation up with like whatever's best for the child, and if you weren't ready or compatible with each other to have a child, you know, like why did that happen to begin with? But like, if this is the road that we're at, you know, I want to make sure that the child has hopefully a male and female figure to grow up with in their lives, so that they're not on a path of destruction.
Yeah. All right. So about my week. So I have a friend who I'm kind of close to that I met on here. We used to play like World of Warcraft together, and about like 4 months ago, we kind of got bored of playing that. So they got me into like Final Fantasy, and I was like, okay, cool. What do you do over there? She's like, oh, I'm in this role-playing server. You can come role-play with me. And I was just like, because she always plays role-playing servers on World of Warcraft. And I was like, okay, cool. So, she's like, I'll pay for your subscription and I'll buy the game for you. But you have to be this certain race, because she's that race too. And I was like, why do I have to be this race? She's like, I mean, do you want to pay like $120 for everything? I was just like, I'm fine with the race. But the race is only a girl, because that's how it is in the lore. So I was like, all right, fine, I can play a girl character. I don't care.
Is this like Blood
So we
Elves
play
or
a girl character. It's Final Fantasy, so it's a Vanera. So it's like bunny girls, like Fran.
Oh, okay,
Yeah. So it's pretty much Fran's race from 12. So I'm playing that race, and then so everything's going fine. Or like she's introduced me to her clan and like meeting a bunch of new people, and I tell everyone like, hey, I'm just here to stick everything in game. I don't want any IRL stuff or anything like that. They're like, oh yeah, no, that's fine. That's what we do. We just like to come blow off steam, like play D&D with our characters, though, so to say. And I was like, all right, cool, that's pretty dope. So I'm hanging out with them, and then I meet some other of my friends of my own, and some people, I still try to stay in the roleplay aspect, just so when I'm on, I don't have to keep switching like mentalities, because when like you want to roleplay, you kind of want to just like stay immersed. So, but like if you're constantly having to like, switch back from being, immersed in a nice place like this into like reality, it kind of gets like taxing on your mind. Well, at least for me, it does. So, any people I meet, I tell them like, hey, I'm just RPing, this is all it is, RP for me. And some people forget that and kind of take it to heart, and then it gets quite frustrating because everybody wants your attention and like talk to you and things like that. Because they think that you're a girl in real life, and I have to keep telling them like this is all RP. Like I don't want to talk about IRL stuff. So I have a lot of friends who think that I'm a girl because I play a race that's a girl, and I have to keep telling, no, I'm a boy. Like I just play this class because I RP, and then so I just eventually gave up because I was so stressed out in my mind that I'm just like, if they're gonna think I'm a girl, just let them think I'm a girl. So that was like my week, just like switching back and forth to like trying to RP with them and then just trying to like enjoy the game. And every time I jump on the game and I try to do like the main story quest, it's always interrupted by like meeting people or they wanting to hang out with me or like do something that takes me away from what I'm trying to do.
I'm almost hearing like a sense of, you were introduced to this game to begin with, from a friend, so you're already like on her dime. So that kind of puts you into a character that wasn't necessarily your choice, but you sort of just went with it. And as things progressed along, you are finding some enjoyment in the game, but this is being a little bit hindered by people who don't know how to separate RP from IRL, and as a result you almost feel guilty that you have to keep telling them that like you're a guy.
I don't know if guilty would be the right term. It's more like that the fact that they keep thinking I'm a girl is that it's overwhelming because either like I'll put my status on busy so you won't get any like private messages, but then I'll get a bunch of stuff like in my mailbox from like messages like hey I see that you're busy, or people will come like hunt me down because it shows like your location, like where you are. And it's like, hey, it's like I see that I was like, bro, I'm just trying to do the main story quest, like I just want some time to myself. They're like, oh, I didn't realize I was bothering you, and then people try to like guilt trip you or stuff like that.
So you're getting the woman experience.
Yes. That's pretty much it.
Oh my god, please tell us more about the point of view of the Simparage.
Oh my god, there's this one person that I met that was just really, really weird and like creepy at the very first start. I don't know why he liked my one character, and because I was just being like super blunt and open about everything because I didn't really care. And I was like, oh, I'll never meet these people again. I don't care. Well, he started sending me like different outfits for my character to wear and like writing like very provocative messages. And like he spent IRL money in like a cash shop to buy me stuff just to send to me. I was like, listen, don't do this. Like, I don't want you to keep doing this. Like, oh, I don't mind. I have extra income. And I was like, listen, it makes me uncomfortable you do this stuff because I can't return the favor. It's like, I have a very limited income. Like, oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So I talked to my friend that got me into RP about it. And they're like, you can either block them or just, go with it. And I would feel bad if I just like took the stuff that was kind of like forced onto me and just, blocked them. And I was like, I'll just deal with it and he'll get better. And he has been getting better. He hasn't been as creepy, but he like sends me like tons of like in-game money, which is gil. I think he sent me like a total of like 15 million gil in like 2 months. Right? And then this one person I like to, they're very, I talk to, they're very like, I guess inexperienced about when it comes to talking to people, so I'll like lightly tease them. And I was like, "Hey, why don't you go talk to that girl over there? She looks kind of cute." And they're like, "Oh, I don't know. We've been talking for a while." So I'll say something out and like, so everyone can hear it. And I was like, "Why don't you go ask her out on a picnic then? I'm sure she'll love that." And I was like, "Oops, I meant to send that right message," and they'll get embarrassed. So, um, this one person, I had to block him because apparently they developed a crush on me, and uh, like you can have housing in that game. So they went to like my apartment, like as I have two different apartments. They went to both of them, and they said they like IRL jacked off into like my character's room. I was like, nope, nope. They're like, "Oh, I was missing you, and you weren't there for a couple days, so I went into your room, and like I lay down in your bed, and then I just kind of like jacked off into your bed, and then I went to your other place and kind of went there too." And I was just like,
not one, but both places. Oh, what a winner!
I was like, I was like, "Yo, what do I do about this?" To like report that person? That's like disgusting, even if it's RP or not. But they said like IRL, and I'm like, what pleasure would that give? Just looking at a room, that's like going to here and just be like, yes,
Well, no,
I
he's
know the creator.
fantasizing about you. He's like, oh, if you were here, you know. So, does your friend, the one who brought you on, does she get this kind of attention too?
No, because she actually she stays with the free company. Well, that's the guild's called, a free company. So she stays with her guild and just talks to them. She doesn't talk to pretty much anyone else. And the whole guild is like absolutely fine. They're all like super chill. They know, um, you know, it's all RP, and they don't want anything out of real life. Like that was one of the like rules. Like, hey, we have other lives and we do other stuff, so just keep everything in game, please. And if that's like something you can't do, like you can't separate that of reality, then you're gonna have to find another guild.
Hmm.
So she just sticks with them. She does like raids. They talk in Discord and things like that. When I'm just kind of like go off and do my own thing, and I'm not at their point to where I can do their content yet because I've been distracted by all the other people that I've met along the way.
So usually, when we talk about things that might be like problems or things people are dealing with, there would be some sort of a solution or path to take forward. And you kind of already briefly mentioned that with sounds like setting boundaries and really being open and honest, blunt even about like, hey, I'm a guy. We need to make sure that we keep this separated. This is game. This is real life. Don't mix, don't cross the two. And
Yeah, it's just hard because like some people just don't respect boundaries. So like I'm just kind of just taking a break from the game. I've just like been watching anime today, and relaxing, and it's a nice change of pace. I've been also like exercising more with like some coworkers, and that helps blow off steam. So like I'll just, from what I was gonna do is like just take like a week off from the game, come back, and see what's new.
That's interesting. So the game almost sounds like a source of stress for you.
It actually did become a little source of stress when I was using it to de-stress.
We had sort of like touched on your goals for the future, so sort of like getting IT experience and then potentially finding a partner, having a family, so on and so forth. Like, what's happened since then?
Well, I'm still considering myself seeing that girl in England, even though we haven't officially like met. but the country's opening back up, and we've been talking about having her come see me this December. So I just been putting money aside every month while working with bills and stuff in between. Just so when she comes over here, I can have extra money to spend on her. But if for whatever reason she doesn't feel comfortable coming over here because of COVID, then she has pre-existing medical conditions, I'm gonna go over there and see her, because it's gonna kill me if I don't find out is this really, if this is something, or have I just been lying to myself for the past 2.5 years.
So you've been talking to someone for 2.5 years, long before we even met?
Well, we met in in a Discord playing Heroes of the Storm, and we talked for about 3 months, and then we just started I was like, do you want to be my girlfriend? And I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think it would go this far. But we started sharing pictures with each other and video chatting and things like that. And then the Discord we were in kind of fell apart. The owner of the Discord had very bad PTSD and started banning people left and right. But we still kept in touch, and we don't play games anymore, but I think she just got a Switch so we can play Animal Crossing with each other whenever that comes in the mail. So hopefully we'll be back playing games with each other. But I mean, even though it's long distance, a lot of people say we're not together, because they say well, how can you guys can be together if you're not together? You're just I don't know, my parents think I'm wasting my time.
Do you feel like you're wasting your time?
No. I got a passport to go over there, and then COVID hit, and they just kind of shut all the airlines down. And then when COVID hit, hotels became more expensive, and then flights weren't going out. The prices were cheap, but the country was still shut down in England. So, I mean, it opens up in July or June? End of June. So I'm just gonna work through the summer, and then hopefully, we'll talk more about how the COVID cases go down and things like that. Because they're still worried about COVID and everything, even though they've been vaccinated. And I don't know if they can get time from work off or not.
Do you feel like the person you've been spending time with has been completely honest?
I mean, I do, but I don't feel like she has a reason to hide anything. But I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell when you can't actually be there with them and you just don't really know what's going on. A part of me is still reserved about everything, but that's just more for my own protection. I can't bring myself to fully to commit to her when she's so far away. And when I say fully commit, I mean I'm not going out with other girls, other girls on dates. I'll just playfully flirt with people.
So right now, because I haven't checked in on some of the COVID stuff. Are the airlines, have they opened up to where you could go visit, or you're saying that was in June?
I mean, the airlines are still going, but not to Europe. The country's still closed. They're not going. I think they're going to like France and Germany and things like that. So you can't even get into the country until I think June,
So
like June 26th or 28th or something like that.
So you wouldn't be able to fly straight there. You'd have to fly to a neighboring country and then drive there.
I don't think you can even drive there.
Oh. What about her visiting you?
Well, she can come visit me because where she lives is that she lives with like roommates, and so she has like pretty much an apartment, and it's apartments over there are very very small, like kind of like New York style.
Oh, okay.
But she's like, yeah, I literally have my bed and then enough room to put a dresser and then where I just squeeze by and then like have a desk and that's it. So it's like a very very tiny room. The way she describes it's like the room under the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
But I told her if you can, buy a plane ticket over here, I'll take care of everything like transportation, food, housing, and whatever you want. Like as long as you can get over here, I'll take care of everything else.
And what did she
Because
say, or how did she respond?
she would just be like, "Oh, that's really sweet," and she's like, "How are you gonna take care of all of those?" Like, well, I have a car, and then I rent a room in a house for $600 a month, and like that's it. Like, I make around like $1,000 every 2 weeks, so the rest of that just goes into savings. So like I have plenty of room on my bed to where you can sleep over, and plenty of room to where if you wanted to sleep on the floor, you could. But I mean, I have a California king bed, tons of room, own personal bathroom, own personal entrance, and then I have a car to wherever she wants to go, we can go.
But the only
And
answer you've gotten so far is that's really sweet, and then just kind of
yeah, well, like that's really sweet of you. That's nice. I think she more wants to come over here than me go over there, because I feel like I wouldn't have a good time over there because she has to take like the bus to go to places or and I wouldn't have a place to sleep. I would have to get a what do you call it, a hotel room or a B&B or something like that. And she's like, I'd rather just come over there and see you where you already have all that stuff and where you can enjoy more time together and spend money on things that we want to do together, not just spend money on basic necessities, as in getting up on time to go catch the train or bus or whatever, or like a hotel room, because the cheapest room I saw over there was like $100 a night.
So what's the plan so far if you kind of have everything scoped out and it would really just come down to the plane ticket? What's stopping you guys?
It's whenever she feels comfortable coming to see me.
And how long have you guys, you said you guys have been talking for about 2 or so years?
Yeah, like 2.5 years. So we started again at the end of I guess the start of 2018, and then we talked for about 3 months, and then we started dating for 9 months. Then we kind of broke up for about 2 months after that, and then we started dating right before COVID was announced. And if we didn't break up for those 2 months, I'm pretty sure she would have came and saw me by then. But then we had to wait for COVID to go to go away, but it's still here.
What caused
So-
you two to spend time away from each other?
I had like a lot more trust issues because she said she had a lot of medical issues going on. And from my past experience, I've had people use medical reasons as like an excuse to get like money out of people, or to like say get fraud or emotional abuse or anything like that. So from her, what she was saying is that she had lupus, and then so she was constantly away. Like I talked to her like one day or like a couple hours one day, and then she'd be gone for like 3 months. I wouldn't hear anything. And then so she said she was struggling with lupus and that she had to get one kidney removed and then had to get another part taken out. And then she had another medical issue where she said that her dad had 2 slipped discs, one in his lower back, one in his upper back. And once his upper back slipped, he was paralyzed. So they had to do surgery to see if they can get the disc slipped back in, which they were able to do, but not the bottom one. So now he's to take morphine injections into the spine. And then she has to constantly monitor him to make sure he doesn't overdose on morphine or get too addicted on it. So that became a lot for her. So the hospital sends a nurse over there every so often to check up on him. And so she's been working like 2 jobs just to like pay rent and for her flatmates. And then one job doesn't pay her very much. She's just there for the experience. And another job with COVID and everything, it's kind of like on and off because she was a waitress or at a restaurant. So they'll call her in when they need her. So she's pretty much just making like enough money just to pay rent and food. So some things I find hard to believe, and some things I just like, I have to see this for myself because I don't know, like I don't want to sound mean, but there's like I'm like, what are you taking for an idiot? But I guess I sort of am.
So we've kind of stumbled across, more of an issue that falls within the style of these videos, and that being, trust, and looking at what a good friend or a good partner looks like, because I'm hearing, just a sense of uncertainty and not wanting to fully commit for protective reasons. And when looking at a sincere and healthy relationship, 1 foot in and 1 foot out kind of sounds insincere.
It's more like I'm just sitting at the edge of the pool, like waiting for them to swim with me. Like, like you're sitting and you're waiting, or let's just say like, let's just say you go to the pool. And you're like, hey, I'll be there in, half an hour. You're like, okay, well, I'm just going to go, like, I'm going to wait to swim with them. I could swim by myself and, do that, but I'd rather just like kind of stick my feet in the water and wait. You're not making that full commitment of just diving in. And it's mainly because like I can't just bring myself to it. Like I'm comfortable with them, like with everything that's going on. And like I accepted, okay, this is how the relationship is. She'll go away for so many months and then she'll come back and we'll get to talk. But it's not as severe right now. She'll probably, go away for maybe like 2 weeks, and then I'll hear back from her, and then we'll talk on Discord or something like that for about a couple hours. So I just send like supporting messages or like voice recordings of me saying like, hey, I hope you're doing well. I hope your dad's okay. Things like that. It's more of like, I'm ready to take the next step, but I need her to be here to take that next step. Because I've gotten over all the other stuff in the past.
So what's stopping you guys?
For her, it's COVID coming over here.
Well, you said
And
that
then-
she could get a plane ticket and come over like right now.
Well, I mean, she can once the country reopens in June, but she's more worried about, COVID, because she actually got COVID previously, and she just doesn't feel safe flying. And
Even with the
I
vaccine.
mean, listen, man, I can't tell you why she doesn't want to come over. This is just what she tells me. So
Yeah.
we made plans in December.
Have there ever been times of her delaying anything that you guys had plans to do? Has this happened before?
Like, say, like a video call, like, let's call at 4 or something.
No plans to meet up or move forward in the relationship, take the next step?
No, nothing like that. I mean, plans to delay. She has like really shitty internet where she lives, so like we'll be on a call on Discord and I'll disconnect like 30 times within, like 2 hours. So, I mean, as plans of like, hey, let's talk at 4, well, that's like if her internet wants to work. That's the only thing.
Okay, so you guys have known each other for 2 years. COVID happened. That's been going on for like year and a half. And there was like a 2-month break period. And that you said that was because of trust issues. And then now, once June hits, the gates are open. There's nothing left to stop you guys. And then from there on, you would see, if she's really willing to move forward.
Right. And if she's not willing to come in December, I'm gonna go over there after the first of the year, because after like the holidays, plane tickets will be down.
If she's not willing,
I'm gonna go over there.
Like, I just want.
If she doesn't come over here in December like we planned, like because she's like, oh, I'm still scared of COVID or something like that, I'm gonna go over there and see what's up. Like, because I understand like life happens and stuff like that, but for me, I've done something similar to this before with another girl who used to live in Texas, and that's a whole different story. And it kind of bothered me to wonder, like, okay, what if I did this instead? Like, I don't want to spend the rest of my life, okay, what if, this happened. So, what if I do have to go over there? My mentality is I'm going over there for a vacation. I'm not going over there just to see her. I'm going to go over there for the things that I want to do, and then put aside like a day or two to come see her or something.
Yeah, because that sounded kind of insincere, that if she... Because people are very strong-willed when they really like each other and they're committed to each other. They will do anything that they can to see each other if it's a true committed relationship. And for her to be making so many reasons why she can't come, or just a lot of uncertainty, just doesn't sound. And like you said it yourself, something just doesn't sound right. It doesn't like the fact that you have to keep questioning these medical issues and things going on in her life, and that you'd have to see it for yourself. Like, what do you think about that?
If I end up having to go over there and find out that either, let's just say none of it's true. Let's just say none of it's true.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be more mad at myself that I let something like this fall for me. I let myself fall for something like this for so long. Because like everyone's been scammed before out of either it's sympathy or something that just out of their will, and it'd be more like I let myself fall for this scam of giving this person like whatever they wanted when we were playing a game, or whatever they're trying to get out of me. So but if I do go over there and it's all true, then it just makes me like want to like sit down and question like, all right, you've been through all this stuff, is like, what are all these like the actual reasons why you didn't want to come see me? Like, I'm here, aren't I? COVID didn't affect me as much.
I just want to point out that both of those sound like unfulfilling paths just by the tone of your voice. If you find out that it's not true, then it's kind of like, oh, well, screw her. I finally get to move on. I'm a little bit disappointed in myself for falling for this, but like, all right, new horizon. But if it is true, I'm still kind of disappointed because I don't feel like she was being entirely honest. And
well, no. The first part was correct. The second part was, if it does come to be true, I'd be more happy than relieved that it actually is true. But then I would have to sit down and talk to her about, where she wants to go with all this, and like, why did it take you so long to come see me? Like, the country opened up and stuff like that. We planned for December. You didn't come. You made another excuse. I was just like, do I need to uproot my life to come live with you just to be with you? Like, I would have to actually sit down. I would still have to have a serious talk with her no matter what.
When people talk about what an ideal partner is to them, there's typically like 3 to 5 check boxes that has to be with every person for them to truly be intimate and committed. What kind of qualities do you feel like an ideal partner would have?
To answer your question, someone who's trustworthy, honest, would make ideal partners. I think how do I phrase this? To me, she's a good partner. It's just that the relationship right now isn't ideal because long distance.
What is a good partner? Like, what does that look like?
Well, I said they're trustworthy, honest, and loyal to you. As well, like, I would say would be a good partner.
And when you say like trustworthy and honest, what does that look like?
Trustworthy is, you can do something with them without like where they have your best interest in mind, and well, you have theirs. And honest is just like, if something happens, they would just tell you, oh hey, uh, a coworker, slapped my ass at work or something.
So when you say person has your best interest in mind, and your heart's been sort of put in this relationship for a while, and you haven't necessarily escalated anything in the past few years, and you talk about trust and honesty, but you are sort of on the fence when it comes to the things that she's been telling you. And like, true that you have until June to kind of find out like where she really stands, but from like a third party perspective, I'm not seeing those boxes checked off. In fact, I almost would describe it as the boxes are X'd out, but you're still trying to take like a green marker and check them off anyways.
I guess another would be understanding and then forgiving.
Okay.
Because sometimes we do make mistakes. We don't mean to. And like things happen and we say things we don't mean. So being forgiving is a nice quality to have, not to hold a grudge. And then understanding, about other people's, what they've gone through or their background or things like that. My whole point is that the relationship I'm in now is not ideal for me, but I've put so much time and effort into it. I don't want it to go to waste. If it's not, it's more like if it's just me waiting, I'm fine with just waiting. Because waiting. I want to see if it'll turn into something and not just throw it away. Sometimes things just need a little longer to bloom. And I understand all the signs are pointing in a very negative direction.
On. My fucking VR chat broke. I have to reload. Like, okay, hey, I know it looks bad. The signs aren't pointing to very good things. And then died.
Alright, so I know things aren't, pointing very good. And they're all looking bad. But, like, if all I have to do is just wait, and then I can wait till December. Because there isn't really someone that I've met that I want to date or I'm interested in dating. So it's not really hindering me from anything. It's not really harming me financially. It's just like I'm just waiting to see if something happens. And if it doesn't happen by December, I'm gonna go over there myself and see what's up. And then
so there it is again. Has your best interest in mind, yet doesn't make an effort to come over here. And then you having to play detective, go over there, and figure out if she really means it. And the question that comes to mind, just as an example...
I can't answer that question. Because it hasn't happened in December. Well, I can't tell you if she's gonna come over or not. This is all just like what if scenarios.
Right. But there is one thing I'm trying to see if I can help you understand. Okay. Do you text a lot of people, or have you ever?
On Discord, sure.
And do you have like, a good friend or a close friend online or in person that you would message and they would respond to you?
Yeah, I went to go see him like 3 times.
So when you reach out to this person, how long does it take for them to get back to you?
like a day.
Like, so
If they're
for,
busy, if they're not, if they're busy, like a day. If not, then like a couple hours. And then like once like I have their attention, it's just quick back and forth.
mm-hmm. So if somebody truly cares about you, I'm hearing that they kind of get back fairly quickly.
Right. But that's not every relationship.
And so why? So when you say "but," there's a contingency behind it. So what is that exception? Because we're describing like people who care about you, people that you can trust and who are honest and reliable, who have your best interest in mind. Your best interest isn't
but
like they don't want to keep you waiting and make you feel anxious about getting back to you.
think about it this way. Say like you're dating a girl in the military and she just got deployed to somewhere. Obviously she loves you and cares about you, and then maybe she might be in combat, but she can't. It's not somewhere where she can text you all the time. So maybe you might not hear from her for several months, just because that she's gone and you can't text her every single day doesn't mean that she doesn't care and love you.
Yeah, no, I never said all the time. I'm just not seeing any green flags either. And I think that's probably the most challenging part about what I'm hearing. Is there's not there's some red flags that you pointed out, but there's, not really seeing any green flags either.
Right, which is why I was saying the relationship, the relationship as it is not idea, because of the way things are. And I felt like I strongly feel this way, that if I were to go live with her, she would live with me, it would do a complete 180, as in like a good thing.
How do you know that?
I don't. That's why I was saying I just feel like it would. Mainly because like I'd be able to see her every single day and talk to her, not just be relying on an internet connection, or if she's too tired to text me, or if her lupus has just drained her, I could physically come there and see you and talk to you and like hold you. And like meeting someone online is completely different than actually going and living with them. Like I dated a girl online for like 9 months, and then when I went to go see her, I lost interest in her because she was not the person I thought she was.
I mean, that's an insanely valuable point to make.
Right, but the reason I didn't think she was the person that was because she had bad hygiene, and that I found it was like a turnoff for me.
There's not like any black flags going on per se where like, damn, you should really get away from this person. I just want to point out that like, okay, so if she doesn't make an effort to come out and see you, that would not be checking off the box of if she has your best interest in mind. And you've also mentioned that when you go and meet in person, that it's completely different than when you were were online. So to make such a commitment when you know firsthand like that things like that might not work out, that's a bit concerning. And it's also a two-way street where you might not like something about her and vice versa.
But I didn't make that commitment. My feet are just in the water. I haven't jumped in fully. Like that's why I'm still holding reserves.
And the other point that I thought was pretty, valuable was you haven't really found interest in anyone else. And you've also been working like quite a bit over the past few months. So how much have you given yourself a chance to go meet other people or even go out?
I've been going out more recently since the past 3 months. when I've been working with when I was in that late night shift with another coworker. So we would just go exercise, and we would go out to eat, or we would go do something else together. But we would like meet people at the park and talk to them. But since I'm on the lunch shift now, we don't really do that as much. Just only on days that I'm off. So like today, we went to the park. We walked 3 miles, and there was a girl there. She had this 6-month-old, golden poodle or something like that. And we just like kind of like talked to her. What's it like having a dog that's always rambunctious? Just small talk. But I don't know. I'm more focused on myself right now, and then because there's a few things that I want for myself since I'm getting up there in the years, than trying to establish another relationship with someone else.
I'd just like to point out that you had mentioned the goal of finding someone so that you could sit down and have a family, and that you'd want to try and do it, before around like 35 or so. So it's really interesting to hear the dichotomy of being okay with waiting, and then sort of closing yourself off from other opportunities, especially with somebody who is closer within the same country. There's no barriers. You would know if you liked them right away if you just went out on a date with them, and it'd be more immediate. And because I'm not hearing all of your boxes checked off for this person that is, that you are interested in, that kind of seems there's like pieces of the puzzle missing. It's not quite adding up because of previous interests you've told me about and the qualities of this relationship, and your current transitions with work. Like, things are getting better, so like you do have time and you do have extra income. Things are stable, which is great.
Yeah. I feel like I'm being judged for a crime.
No, it's just a light confrontation because, just when we last talked, you said these things, and you're saying these things now, and they're not quite in the same place. So I would be curious of okay, what happened, or what caused that to change?
I just kind of see it differently. As in, I still want those things. It's more of I don't know. I guess I'm more compromising with myself. As in, I'm trying to look more at the present now instead of the future. To where when I was younger, I was always looking to the future and thinking of what things could be, and not living in the moment of how things are now. Because I was more of tricking myself as in oh, things will get better, I'll stay here, things will get better, something will happen, someone will just want to take me up or give me a new job out of nowhere, and that's just not how things are. I'm more looking towards where I'm at now. What are my struggles that I can't get over with, and trying to get over those struggles. And right now, one of those struggles is this relationship, as in I'm giving this relationship to pretty much a year from now.
What was that thing you said about the job? You said if you something about waiting for it, things will get better.
I don't want to let's just say I don't like my job right now. I don't want to sit here and like, I'll get a nice fancy job that I'll run into someone and they'll give me a nice job because I did something nice for them or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
As in, like, I was so used into focusing into the future and not seeing myself for what I am right now.
Yeah. Do you see?
And I still want those things.
Do you see the parallel?
No?
Between that perspective on a job and then also how it's very similar to the relationship.
Okay, yes, I see that parallel. But that parallel isn't too far away, so I've been focusing on other goals by then. Like getting my own actual apartment, not renting a room in a house.
Mm-hmm.
Buying a new car because my car is a 2001 and I would like something a little bit, not saying like a 2020 or 21, but maybe like a 2015 or something like that.
Yeah, an upgrade.
Just right. It's that while I'm waiting, I can still focus on other aspects of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't bring myself to want to meet someone new until like I have everything that I want from myself.
That's really good to hear. But where does the current relationship fall into that?
That's hard to say because it would all depend on what she wants of the relationship and like, does she want to move to America? Does she want me to move there? Like, I'm just saving my money to see, which way, the table turns. Maybe she just doesn't want to come and I end up not going to Europe and just saying, I'm done with this. I've waited so long.
Do you mind if I
Nothing's
ask
gonna
a hard
happen.
question?
Yes.
Oh, you do mind?
Oh, no. I don't mind. Go ahead.
Okay. I have to figure out how to formulate this right in the middle. It's something like what gives you so much fear or scares you so much that you aren't willing to hold this person to your standards? And then also, what's stopping you from committing to focusing on yourself? There's some underlying reason that this relationship or this person is getting a get out of jail free card or living rent free, and I have not heard it yet.
It's okay. So the second part I can answer. And then I'll have to repeat the first part again. Okay. The second part, it's more like an itch that you just have to scratch. Like, remember when you were young and you wanted to like go hang out with like the cool kids and like drink beer and things like that, or you wanted to do something that you just had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like that.
For
like
not committing to yourself?
Well, as in like yes, because that's something I've always wanted to do and that I've always just been alone. As in like I never had an actual like
Partner?
traditional relationship with someone. Like I
Oh.
never went over to like a girl's house, made out with her in her bed, or like went to like on a dates and stuff like that. I missed all that out when I was a lot younger. Like I didn't have a girlfriend in high school. Like first girlfriend I had was in college. And actually no, I had one girl in high school, but it only lasted a week. And then after that, I had one in college. That was an absolute train wreck, and that only lasted like a month. So I never really had that experience, and it's just kind of, it's that one itch I just cannot reach or scratch, and that's why I can't like fully commit to myself. It's just like I want to do this part of my life so I can, yeah. Because when you don't think about it, it's not there. But when you're, let's say when I'm at work, I don't really think about it and stuff like that. But when you're home and relax, and you have more time just to do stuff, it's just like I can't fully commit. But as I'm getting older, I know I have to like either more or less fully commit, because I don't want to be renting a room in the house, even though it's really good for me, $600 a month. I want a place of my own, and eventually my needs and wants are gonna overcome that.
Okay. Now we've gotten to the gold. So because you haven't had a committed or more long-term or serious relationship to develop like a deep bond and
any relationship really, most, like I've only had 2 IRL relationships, and then most of them are just like online, because I wanted to see, I started dating online because I wanted to see what kind of girls that I liked and not have to go through like a bunch of breakups. So I would just go online, meet girls, and then I don't know, use them as character development, if that's wrong to say.
I think that's actually a really intelligent thing to do, because you spare a lot of people their feelings, in a sense of like, online, like a lot of us tend to be a little bit more guarded because it's not in person. As far as like fully committing, it's like, yeah, you can enjoy your time together and you'll put in some effort, but until you meet up in person, as you mentioned, like you're not going to fully commit. So with that being said, there's some protective shields going on, and people can sort of explore, and figure themselves out for like what they like, what they don't like, and like who they get along with, what their interests are. So I think that's a really, smart idea to sort of get that out of the way, so that when you do meet somebody in person, you're like, oh, I've seen this before. This person's actually like really my type. Yeah, no, I don't see anything wrong with that at all.
I've been on a lot of dates, but just not had a lot of actual girlfriends.
And thus comes the...
Alright, what was the other question? Because I forgot it.
This made me think of the unquenchable thirst, but it's like the unitchable itch, but that doesn't sound as good. So, well, so the other thing is no, you basically answered it. Like the whole reason why you're sort of giving this relationship an exception is because like you haven't had a like a true relationship, and like this is the closest you've kind of come to that, or it's sort of like, chasing the dragon, or like trying to chase the high that you are so desperate to achieve again, and you think this is it, I'm gonna catch him, I'm gonna get that relationship, and it just hasn't happened yet, and it's been a few years, and
Reminded me of Heroin Hero. Don't
Yes.
catch the dragon dead.
That's exactly what I was talking about, South Park. So yeah, that sort of leaves us in this interesting place, because it's like, you know, I'm hearing a lot of good things as far as like personal growth goes, but then I'm also hearing like you have this shackle on you of, I really want a true relationship, and as a result, you know, you're kind of weighed down by that, and almost to the point of like, if this person that you're speaking with is like, yeah, I'd really want you to come over here rather than me go over there, that's like the equivalent of the ball and chain falling in water and then just sort of dragging you under, you know, because it's attached to you. You really want it. You can't scratch that itch. And then obviously,
As of right now, it's more of like a mentality just shifting slowly from, you know, from looking into the future about what ifs to, you need to start looking at the present and seeing the way things are for face value, not what they could be.
And that's interesting to say,
So,
that, because how does that apply to this relationship? You're like, the itch, I can't get it.
because for right now, face value, if I were to look at it, I should have never went back. I should have just dropped her after the 9 months.
There it is.
But yes, there it is. But there's still that younger me inside, just wanting to scratch that itch, like wanting to prove everyone else wrong, and wanting all this to work out for everything that I put into it. And eventually, and I'm gonna say like within like a year from now, eventually I have to come to terms to that this isn't working. It's not gonna work. You've given it plenty of time. If something would have happened, it would have happened already. I understand there was a pandemic going on, but still, like, let's just erase 1 whole year, 2 years, and nothing's happened. You know, what more could I do? And the answer obviously is just going to be nothing.
Yeah, because it sounds like you've done a whole lot, but what has she done?
She's done a lot for me too, mainly because
what does that
it's
look
just
like?
nice. It's just nice to have someone, or, you know, just to be able to talk about things like that without, like, you know, your parents or things like that. Or because
she's done a lot for me, things like that. You're good at giving bullet points. I know. You're good at giving bullet points for qualities of a partner, so, you know, same thing.
Okay, she sends me nudes.
Okay.
Her voice always cheers me up when I talk to her.
Okay.
You know, I can talk to her about anything without being judged.
Got it.
She does make an effort to actually try to come see me, and I know her internet sucks because it was never like this before we used to talk.
Well, you said
or
come
before
see
she used to move
you.
into her
Like,
flatmates.
what do you mean? Like online or?
Well, yeah, like talk to me on Discord and things like that, or play a video game with me. Because we would have a date night every Sunday, and we would spend a minimum of 2 hours together. So she does make an effort to come talk to me and things like that.
How often does she reach out to you first, or try to plan things?
if she doesn't hear from me for a while, she'll reach out to me. But planning things, she doesn't plan much. Like, if I don't reach out to her for a while, she'll reach out to me, and then she'll suggest something.
Okay.
I know. Okay. They're
Do I
playing
want-
Minesweeper, okay?
Do I want
All the
to
things are question marks.
do I want to recap that list of what she does for you? I mean, okay, so I really like the connection and being vulnerable and you know, non-judgmental. Like, yeah, like it's a wonderful part of intimacy. Sending nudes. I mean like that is a nice thing, you know. I can get behind that.
Listen,
What makes her different than other people you've met or dated, even for a short while? What makes her stand out?
basically, her voice and her eyes make her stand out the most. Because she has heterochromia eyes, but instead of like one being all the way like a different color, it's only like half a color. So like her left eye, it's brown and then blue, and then her other eye is just blue. So
that's really interesting. I don't think I've ever seen anyone have something like that.
I'll send you a picture.
Her voice and her eyes.
Yeah, when I hear her voice, it's a very high-pitched voice, but not like a whining voice. It's kind of like, it's just nice to listen to, and you're like, oh, damn, like, if you just like sang a song, like, I'd probably just like listen to it over and over again or something. It's just, she has like a really, really nice voice that's just calming. And it's soothing to a point. So those are like physical things about her, and then like I think she has a nice body.
Physical.
Okay, well, we're getting to the other parts. Emotionally, I don't know. I feel like she's just been there for me, and that we've also had fights to where, you know, we talked about stuff, and then we could have easily just like walked away, because it's an online relationship, really. Like, you don't need extra drama in real life. But the fact that, you know, we've had pretty bad fights, and, you know, we still want to be together, to me it says a lot. Maybe not to you. So I mean, that's one thing.
That does show some merit, you know. It shows some, you know, because it's like if she truly wasn't in this for some particular reason, she would have just left. Because like, why deal with stress? You know, same for you.
Mm-hmm. And then like we share like a lot of similar interests. As for her, I asked her, you know, how many like boyfriends or girlfriends have you had in the past? She's like, oh, I dated, you know, 2 girls and a guy, and they just never worked out, the same as you. Well, not the dating guy parts, but like, as in like, we didn't have a lot of relationships that lasted long. And so she's more the type of girl who just doesn't want to be noticed, but she has a style that she has like a very, I guess, gothic style. She likes fishnets and like, you know, dark clothing. And, you know, if you saw this girl on the street, you could pick her out in the crowd pretty easily. She doesn't wear like normal clothes. So, but her style says, you know, don't notice me by noticing me, I guess. She doesn't blend. She doesn't blend in. You know, it's like, oh, you know, you're at like a convention and you're wearing an Assassin's Creed outfit. You know, oh, I don't want to be seen by anyone. Well, then
Yeah,
wear
don't look at me.
fucking peasant clothes. Yeah.
Uh,
The emotional part is that I think, to me, she's definitely emotionally invested because I can tell from like the pitch of her voice and how she will talk to me. Because because we'll be on a call and if I don't have like my camera on or she doesn't have her camera on, she will she'll talk normally, like we're having a conversation now. But once I turn my camera on, her voice gets higher and she starts stuttering and she kind of like loses her train of thought as well. So I can definitely tell that she's either interested or she's just really good at faking it.
hmm.
And then when she does have her camera on, she blushes a lot and looks away. And then I'll say like, "Oh, you look cute," and she'll like cover her hand, or cover the camera with her hand and be like, "Stop, don't, no."
You're kind of in that in-betweener place of like, until you meet in person, you won't really know, you know, a lot more.
Right, and the thing is that I'm not losing anything just by waiting. It's not like she's becoming a hindrance on me, as in like, oh, I found another girl that I like. I'm waiting for her to see what she says. It's not like that. I'm not giving her any money or anything like that. I'm just sending her like voice recordings or text messages, just like aftercare kind of stuff, like hospitals do. Like, you know.
Well, I mean, you're checking up on her.
Yeah, it's just like that aftercare stuff, you know. Like, oh, hey, you know, hope you're doing well today. If you have any issues, you can talk to me about them. I'm here. You know, if we're free this weekend, maybe we can do this or that, something.
So the last
like if it's something.
I was just gonna say, the last conversation you had of, you know, the whole "what are we" conversation. You guys are in a committed relationship. Is that what you had talked about?
Yeah, I mean, other people don't see it that way, but I see it that way.
What did
and
you
like,
get?
I've asked her.
Yeah. So when you talked to her, what did she say?
I asked her like, well, okay, so, you know, what does that mean as a committed relationship? And like, what can I do? What can I do? She's like, listen, I understand that I'm not always here all the time. So like, if you want to go around and like flirt with people on VR chat, she's like, I'm fine with that. But I don't want you to be going like sending nudes to people or like getting another girlfriend. Like, as long as like you can hang out with girls, she's like, but once you start kissing someone or like sending nudes, then no, like I'm out. So, and I was just like, all right, well then same goes for me.
So
I know that's not a good answer.
no, it's more like that's. I'm trying to find find the language for that. It's kind of like a monogamous versus like open relationship kind of discussion, but I didn't necessarily hear like, you know, what are we? We're together and like don't go do these things, otherwise I'm gonna leave. But it didn't necessarily like spell out like how important you guys are to each other, and like if you want to, you know, like long-term plans for the future, because you two are in different countries, like that. You don't have the luxury of taking things like slow and casually like you do if you were kind of close to somebody in person. Like it's kind of like
We're not there at the relationship yet.
Mm-hmm.
That conversation would come, you know, when she comes over here, you know. Then I ask. That's what I was saying, like, you know, what are we? What do you want from this relationship?
What's stopping you from asking that now? Just the fact that like you don't know, like, because in person changes everything.
I mean, you can just speculate, but like you don't really know someone until you get to meet them or live with them, things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can ask them like, "Oh, so what are we?" And she could just come up with like some bullshit answer as I'm like, "Oh, well, I want you to come move here," or because I've asked like, "Do you want me to come live with you, or do you want to come live in America?" And her answer was like, "I'd rather come live in America because it's expensive over here and it sucks over here." And it's like, I only have my dad over here and my cat, but like you have like a whole family. And she's like, that's what she wants. She wants a family. And it was just her dad, and her mom. But then her mom died at like a super young age. So, and she's like, my dad can take care of himself, or I can just hop on a plane and go back anytime I want. So I feel like she'd be feeling guilty if she took me away from more of my family than I would just take her away from her dad. Because right now, like, she doesn't really see her dad. She just gets a phone call from him every like once a week.
Okay, so that is showing a little bit more positive for having your best interest in mind. I suppose at this point, it's just more so of like, being careful not to overcommit until both of you know and have that conversation like wholeheartedly about like what you guys are and plans for the future. Before we had sort of sat down and talked about like stuff about your life, you were kind of super future focused, and then I'm just wanted to point out, I hope that you're not gonna only be present focused, and you've kind of like flipped, the scales flipped like from one end to the other, and kind of just make sure to keep a good balance, because I've seen that happen too many times with people sort of like overcompensating, like like I was doing this a lot and now I don't do it at all, so it ends up causing a very similar problem, but just on the opposite side of the scale.
Right. I
So,
mean,
like,
I'll have more answers for you when it comes in December. Like, if she comes over here and talks.
well, you said June,
But
right?
like,
What? So what's special about December?
she feels more safe waiting till December for all this COVID stuff to go down. And I see it more, even though part of me disagrees. I don't want to jeopardize her safety or say that her safety is like her waiting till December is stupid because you're already vaccinated. They said that the country's open.
Have you told her that? Like, or like communicated like you'll be fine?
No. Because then that's saying that I don't care about your safety. If she feels that she feels more safe coming in December, then I can wait till December. I don't want to make it feel like her safety's in question.
Well, I mean, isn't that part's a little bit black and white? You can communicate like, "Hey, I really want to see you. I'm very confident that you'll be fine. We can take other precautions on top of that, but like, I would like to see you. It's not that I don't have your safety in mind, but you are vaccinated and you can still wear a mask and like you can take precautions."
Well, also where I live, it's better in December because I live in a tourist town, and this time, we wouldn't really be able to do a lot, mainly because things like triple here, as in prices. And then when it goes down, you can actually do more stuff during the off season. So, I mean, I don't want to sit in traffic for, 3 hours trying to get across the bridge because someone was in a hurry just to cut
Where
someone
did you
off.
say you live again?
Virginia.
Virginia. Yeah, no, but I've been to Virginia though. What part? Are you talking about like Richmond?
Lower.
Southern Virginia. Charlottesville? No wait.
Virginia Beach.
Virginia.
Charlottesville is in North Carolina.
No, there's also a Charlottesville in Virginia.
Oh, that's true.
Okay, so Virginia Beach. All right.
So you have people coming down from New York, going all the way to the Virginia Beach, or they're going to Nag's Head, or going to Myrtle Beach, which is in South Carolina, and you have tons of people just like, because I live off a highway where that's the only road you have to take. Like, traffic is just awful on the weekends, especially, and then I mean, like, we can do stuff on the weekdays, but it's the summertime. People are taking their vacation or things like that. Like, it's going to be booked up pretty much all till March of next year about people taking their vacation down out in the Outer Banks. So, I mean, I'm fine with waiting until December because it's going to be a lot cooler, and now it's not going to be 90 degrees all day, every single day for the next 3 months. And so it'll be nice, cool. We can go outside, we can do stuff, and we can go to more attractions.
Yeah, and then you spend enough time with her. Well, how long did she say she was gonna visit for?
2 weeks.
And you're gonna take those 2 weeks off from work?
Mm-hmm. I have paid absent leave, so I can take 2 weeks off.
Okay. Alright, so a lot of valuable stuff in this conversation. I didn't mean to be like ragging on you or anything about like, oh, you shouldn't pursue this relationship. It's more so like, I'm just going to put the magnifying glass over areas of interest and see what I find. And so far I see numerous glimmers of or numerous positives, some question mark areas, and then the obvious, like, is she really telling the truth about like these medical issues or her dad and other things that you have in question. And because it's sort of like balanced out between those things, your biggest validation is going to be her willingness to come visit you anytime between June and December, and she definitely gave her word that she would do it around December. And
right.
Because you haven't really put yourself out there all too much, and you don't really care for anyone else right now, and you're also simultaneously trying to focus on yourself and make things better for you, you really don't mind waiting, and there's no like significant detriment.
Pretty much.
Okay.
If you want to sum it up that way.
Well, how would
Trust
you
me,
sum
if there
it
was
up?
something I don't mind waiting because yes, I am trying to focus more on myself.
Mm-hmm.
And if there was someone I was more interested in, I would go for it because they can give me things that she can't. Mainly just being here. And waiting, I feel like it's the best move because I can finally see if I can scratch that itch or if I'm just gonna have to just like
move
I
on.
don't know. I would say cut it off. I would say yeah, I eventually just move on. Um, but I don't have an issue waiting till December. I can build up time, um, save a little bit more money because right now I have about 3 grand saved up. And I still have like some car stuff I need to do, or I gotta buy some more tires for my car. So after that, I can just put all my money away instead of just some here, some there, and of course bills. So we'll see what happens in December.
Yeah. Ooh, nice to be continued. Okay. So that was a good conversation for talking about long-term relationships, and then the itch part was really solid. Because I feel like I've seen so many cases of people who have like a gravitational pull towards something, and then once they scratch the itch, like that pull is sort of like the rope being cut, and like now they're not like as bound to it as they were before. You could still enjoy whatever that thing is, but now you're not necessarily like bound by it. So that would be interesting to see if you guys do end up meeting and things work out. If it would satisfy that itch, and then like how you would feel after that. What's helped the most for pursuing this relationship and having it last as long as it has?
Being reserved.
What do you mean by being reserved?
Like not putting all your eggs in one basket. Definitely being hopeful that something fruitful will come from your efforts, but also just still being realistic, because I mean, I don't want to make her something that she's not out to be. I feel like that's what a lot of people do, is that they talk to someone, they have an idea of what they think they are since they haven't met them in person, and they have a dream, and then like if they come to meet me in person, they get disappointed because they're not how they saw them in their head.
Yeah, so the ideal and the reality doesn't match up.
Right. So that's what I'm saying, like being reserved as in like holding back from living in that dreamland, and like not giving all your feelings to this one person. It's like I care about her a lot, and I've given her money in the past, but not anymore. Just to show that like, oh, I care about you. And so it's more just so like I can say, it's just more so I can flip pocket back. It's like, okay, well, I was right because I was thinking this way. I was more hopeful. But if that doesn't work out, it's like, well, I saw this coming because, I was holding back feelings. And so it's kind of like betting on roulette. You put half your chips on black, half your chips on red. No matter what it lands on, you're still going to win, so to say.
How much money did you give her?
Probably close to like $4,000 or $5,000.
That's what you meant by invested.
Yes, and also my time.
Let's talk about like what makes things worse, and then we're gonna kind of address that bit. So as far as the past 2 years and the time with her, what's made things worse?
What do you mean?
Like things that have been unhelpful that might have like really aggravated the relationship.
Well, the whole relationship is communication.
Mhm.
So, her what's like honestly killing the relationship, so to say, is that she's always gone for such a long period of time.
Mm.
And I had to come to terms with that that's how this relationship is. And if I can't deal with that, or if that's not for me, then I have to leave. But that's the only downside about the relationship as of like right now.
How often do you talk to her and hang out with her per week?
It's probably like it's right now it's more like once a month. Like 2 hours for a month. Like every month.
So you had boxes lined up of like what an ideal partner would be like, and not all of them are checked. You've put in a lot of time and also money, and a fairly large amount of money, into this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And you only spend once a month for 2 hours with this person. And they said
so
that they would meet you in December.
well, that's kind of how it is right now, but that's not how it was when we first started dating the first time. When we first started dating, it was like every Sunday we would talk. We would actually get together in Discord and talk and do something. But then we would just like text each other constantly. All right, so last time she texted me was the 21st of this month. And then before that was, let's see, we talked a little bit the 20th, and then the 14th we talked. And then from the 14th, it went back to the 6th. So I guess I talked to her more than I realized. But then after May 16th, before May 16th, I didn't hear from her from April 8th. So April 8th all the way to May 16th. So it's things like that. And then when she's around, and then when she's not, she's not.
Okay. Have you communicated to her about how that bothers you?
Yeah. We've already talked about all this stuff.
And that conversation.
And we broke up.
Oh, so the last time you talked about it, you guys broke up.
Yeah. And then before April, whatever, it was like March 23rd. So, I mean, it's like 3 weeks at most, it looks like.
So that's really concerning to me, because you communicated a basic human need for a relationship, and it resulted in you two splitting apart.
Because I was asking something from her that she couldn't give at that time. And
she's still not giving it to this day.
yeah, so I don't. That's where I had to tell myself, if I want this relationship, this is how it is, and I have to accept that, or I have to leave it.
Why would you willingly accept somebody who is not checking your boxes and being there for you consistently?
If I say I'm an idiot, was that acceptable?
I mean, is that how you feel?
Yes. Yes, sometimes I feel like I'm that hopeless romance, and it bothered me a lot when we first started talking about it, because I wasn't okay with that because she was gone, and then I was the one that wanted her back, and I wanted to talk to her, and so I was questioning myself why I wanted her back.
Well,
and
I mean,
why did I put so much?
We know the answer, right?
Yeah,
That itch
and then
is
like what?
It's not bad.
Right. So that's I'm not happy about it. Like I said, like we both agree because we talked about it. Like, can we both agree like this relationship is an idea for us? And she's like, yeah, and like, you know what I mean by that, right? And she's like, yeah, like we're always just so far apart, and I don't have much time as you as I want to give, and I know you want more time for me, and she's like, I want to spend time with you. I want to talk to you more often. She's like, some days I'm just too tired from work. Some days her lupus makes her too tired, so she just sleeps all the time. So she'll try to send you a message, but then she'll get on her internet and Discord just spins and spins and spins and loads and
Have
loads
you
and
ever
loads.
asked for the medical paperwork of these diagnoses?
No. I never thought about that, to be honest.
And here's the scary question. What do you think would happen if you did?
She'd probably ask why. But, I mean, if I honestly wanted to see... there's another way I can ask without asking for medical paperwork. If she really had lupus, she would have scarring on her backs because she had surgery for kidneys. So I could ask, you know...
Wait, she sent you nudes and you haven't been able to tell if she has that on her back?
Well, the nudes that she sent me are always just like front pictures or like side pictures.
Oh,
and
that's interesting.
The nudes of like her, and then like the nude that she sent me like before she had surgery was like a video, but I haven't got a nude from her in a while. But she always just send me like pictures of like, her tits and things like that. Or like her and just like in see-through clothing.
Hey, that's definitely something that you'd want to investigate, because if that seems way too much of a coincidence that you've never seen her back. She's claiming she has this condition that, you know, you would know if she had it if you saw her back. And
but like, how many times do you send a picture of a nude, especially of your back, to someone? Like, do you send pictures of your back to girls?
I mean, like, depends.
Let alone
my tattoo is on my back, so yes.
Oh, well, I mean, that's a different story.
I mean, if she's sending you a butt pic, like, you're gonna see her back, you know? Like, it's common.
I mean, she just kind of like stands on the side so I can actually see it, but
hey,
yeah,
man, that opened up Pandora's box right there.
No. There's other ways I can ask, like, you know, well, I can just be like more concerned about.
Is that openness and honesty if she refuses to show you those things?
In a way, yeah.
A healthy relationship, like, you tell each other everything, and like, you know, I have a different opinion on like the whole unlocked phone things, but like I'd say like, yeah, it's, you show each other your phones, that's fine, and like you have nothing to hide. So like, if she had this condition, it would be as simple as like, you know, scanning on your phone or just sending you the paperwork, like, you know, to prove that, you know, what she's saying is true. And it's not like about challenging her per se, it's just like you want to know.
Okay, so I guess to me it doesn't matter if I know it's true or not, because let's just say it's not. Then what? What do I do now?
You'd probably have to let go.
Yeah. Because then it's going to open up a whole bunch of other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I could ask just like, you know, what kind of prescriptions do you take? Like, if I really wanted to say like, yo, let me see the scars in your back for the surgery, or, oh, they healed, they faded away, you can't really see anymore. Let me see the pills you take for your lupus, or something, or the paperwork or anything, oh, I don't have it, or like, 'cause she went to dialysis and now she doesn't have to go to dialysis, but like she said she got a transplant for like one of her kidneys, and
So-
they had to cut some stuff out of her other kidneys. So
So I just want to point out that when you do the voice, or like the kind of like the excuse voice, right? Like, oh, she's gonna make up some bullshit. Why would you choose to be
Don't
with
they all?
somebody? No, that's not what a healthy relationship looks like at all. And that's really unfortunate that you've kind of dealt with that thus far. And until you mentioned the $4,000 to $5,000 part, I was really confused. Especially after seeing a picture of her too.
You want to see a picture of my other exes?
I mean, no. Only if you want to, but maybe later. But just, yeah. So to me, I could just straight up say what I'm thinking. But it would probably be pretty crude.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So girls
Support the research
that I've seen, like this, like the telltale signs. They're pretty, they're distant, they have a nice voice, and everything that you've mentioned with well, we started hanging out a lot at first because she wanted it to be believable, and one thing led to another, and she said, hey, I need some money, or you offered money, and then she just like, oh hell, I'll just go ahead and take it. And this is really interesting because you're now in the ERP, well, not ERP, but you're now in that roleplay position of what it feels like to have a guy kind of give you things. I don't know how that $4,000 or $5,000 got transferred. That's not the point I'm trying to make. But the point is that it did happen somehow. So...
Oh, well, the money, okay, so the money, the way I did it is that when we played Heroes of the Storm, I would buy her skins for the heroes that she liked, or like champions that came out, and then so that was about, let's say, like $1,000, just over 9 months.
Did she ever tell you to not give her those things?
Yes.
And why did you keep giving them to her?
Because I'm an idiot.
Because you maybe thought that...
Because I wanted to do nice things. No, because I wanted to do nice things for her, and I cared for her, and I liked her, and I wasn't expecting anything in return. So I had extra income at that time, and I was just like, okay, well, you've been talking about how you want this. I got it for you. All right, well, let's play a game together. And it was just gave us an excuse together to play with it. Not because I wanted anything from her, it's because I just liked seeing her happy, and that we could do stuff together.
Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna fault gift giving the love language at all. It's the reciprocation and the gravitational pull of the itch that I want to point out. That by you doing these things for her, it would increase your chances of it becoming serious and getting that itch scratched. That's what I want to point out.
That's not always true.
Well, but. So what's the but?
That's not always true. Just because you give a girl something doesn't mean that she's gonna fall for you. It just happened to work out for me.
Okay. There's a different perspective to look at that from. Yes, it is, gift giving is a love language. That's perfectly fine. It's the fact that it amounted to $4,000 or $5,000 even if it is over 2 years, that's like a fucking used car, man. That's a lot of money.
Oh, 3 years.
Oh, okay, so 3 years, but still, like, for somebody that you've never met in person, it's a lot.
That's pretty tame for me, to be honest. Or someone I haven't met in person.
Or so you're saying there have been other instances of this happening?
Remember those other girlfriends I was talking about?
Yeah.
And how I was telling you, like, I can relate to any topic you wanted to talk about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Want to talk about a 10-year relationship that didn't go anywhere?
Sure. Did you meet in person, or was this another online relationship?
This was another online relationship, but we weren't going to meet in person. We were. So here's what happened. So, I met this girl on League of Legends, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we started playing together for about 2 years. And I'm thinking, like, this person's like, you know, a guy. He's like a pretty cool guy. And so the first 2 years, I thought they were a guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, I was like, hey, do you want to be a Discord? And I was just like, and she's like, yeah, sure, whatever. So we talked on Discord, and I was like, oh shit, like, you're a girl. He's like, I thought you were a guy at the time, and she just laughed. So then, we already had like a pre-history with each other for like talking 2 years and hanging out, playing, stuff like that. So that's when I started spending money on her. So like, so for a year I spent money on her, buying her skins on League. And then it became to IRL stuff. I started sending her money just to help pay for her rent. And after that, it just became like normal stuff like birthdays and holidays and things like that. And then one point, it came to the point where her dog was getting old and aggressive, and I bought her a dog.
Mm.
And so this is where I was like very, very hopeful, and I was stupid, because when I first met her for the first 2 years, she had a boyfriend. So she had a pattern. She'd date 2 years, break up, and then date 2 more, and then break up. And then, so she went through 3 boyfriends and finally got to me, and she's like, fine, I'll date you.
Oh, fine. Fine, I'll date you.
Because I kept asking and I wouldn't let it go. So we dated for about 6 months, and then she met this other guy that she really, really liked. And we broke up. And I was like, why are we breaking up? You know, like, I thought everything was going good. It's like, well, he's there for me, and he's giving me stuff you can't. And I was like, all right, well, let's break up. And then so we still became friends, because I was like, I'll get her back. This guy's going to be shit. I'll get her back.
Mm.
Well, this guy went after like her mental state, because she had really bad anxiety for her dog, like, being super old, and then she was going through college at the same time, so she had a lot of stress. And he started getting her watching like criminal episodes like CSI and things like that. And he planted the idea. He's like, oh, you know, you see how that guy just was obsessed with his ex and he killed her? He's like, wouldn't it be weird if that happened to you? And he was talking about me. So I was like, hey, remember those plans we like wanted to meet? Well, that's coming up, and you still want to meet. And then she had like a mental breakdown and something like a huge paragraph about how she doesn't want to meet me, and says that I can't accept the fact that we broke up and that she's with her new boyfriend, and that I'm gonna kill her because I'm not over her.
Oh wow. Dude, man, that sounds really. Can't even imagine. Like, what were you feeling in that moment?
I hated her. Like, I didn't think I could, but I did.
I was gonna say frustration,
because,
but I wasn't quite sure.
well, the fact that she'd say all that, and I've been like her best friend for years to come. She even had she had this box on her wall where she kept all the important stuff that like her family would give her and things like that. So she kept like trinkets from her grandmother, her mom, her dad, her brothers that have, you know, passed away. And she's like, hey, like I got her a keychain of from something from League of Legends, and she's like, I'm gonna put this in there because it really means that much to me, and I don't ever want to lose it. So, you know, that meant a lot. And then I bought her a dog, and then once she found out, or sorry, once her boyfriend found out that I bought her that dog, and that dog alone was like $1,200. He bought her a dog too, but they ended up breaking up. But he took his dog back.
And did it like
so?
So you mentioned 10 years, and this sounds like over the course of like a few years, unless I'm missing something.
Well, so for the first 2 years, I didn't spend any money on her. 2 more years after that, it was a pattern. 2 years after that, I spent money on her on League. And then after we stopped playing League, we took a break. She started having rent issues. She couldn't afford the rent because it went up. Because like a hurricane came by or something, Ike or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I helped pay with her rent. I gave her like $150 a week. So $300 every 2 weeks, $600 a month. And so that was what? How much is that? I can't do math.
You said, you said 150 every 2 weeks to 300, and then 600 a month.
So 600 a month. So 6 times 12 would be what? That doesn't
12,
add up in my
24,
mind, right?
36, 48, 60, $7,200 a year.
Yeah. That's just for two. That was 2 years. I did that for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I was like, wow, I'm spending that much money on her. It's like I should stop that. And
yeah, just a bit.
Just a bit.
$7,200.
And so I bought her a dog.
Mm-hmm. Plus that.
For 2 years, and then I cut back on that, and I bought her a dog, and then I got her some clothes because she was moving and her roommates stole a lot of her stuff, so I helped her get back on her feet with some stuff like that. And then after that, that's when we were starting to date after I bought her the dog. And then we broke up, so that's when I stopped spending money on her entirely.
Do you see the pattern?
Yes, but I'm much better. I'm not spending $7,500 a month or a year.
Oh wow, big upgrade. Instead of 17, well actually it was more like what, 8,000-9,000 plus the other stuff, down to 4,000 or 5,000. I mean,
That was okay. No,
I mean, progress is progress, I suppose. $4,000 worth. Allegedly.
allegedly. Okay, so let's just instead of the 10 years, 2 years I didn't spend any money at the beginning, and 2 years I didn't spend money after you know, we broke up. So out of the 6 years, I spent like $9,000 on her, versus 3 years I spent 3 to 4.
Well, actually, when you put it that way, that's not as much progress then, actually. Okay. All right. So, The black pill statement would probably be something like this. I have an insane itch. I want to get scratched. I didn't really know my true taste or interest in women, so when the first thing that came along or someone showed interest in me or, I liked someone, I latched onto that shit faster than you could believe. And I wanted to
No.
Oh,
No. Not that part.
okay.
I did not want to latch onto someone that, when I was younger, yes, like 19, fresh out of high school, yeah, whoever gave me attention, I was willing to fuck or hump.
Oh, okay.
But that didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like that now. I like quickly learned, oh yeah, people will use me for my money.
Yes.
Like within like the first 6 months
Yes.
of being 19. It's more like I want a wife that I'm gonna find physically attractive and emotionally attractive, and that I can have a baby with.
Mhm.
Because eventually I want to have a baby, but it's not. I'm gonna latch onto any girl that I find, that will show me, her ass or whatever like that, because I don't want to marry someone or date someone I don't find physically attractive.
Okay.
And then once like looks fade and you're not physically attracted to her anymore, I still want to have that emotional attraction to her.
Mhm.
Because let's be honest, her 20-year-old tits aren't going to be the same, 40 years from now.
Mhm.
So that's why I want to find a girl who I'm physically attracted to and emotionally attracted to, not just some girl who's going to give me ass.
Yeah. So I'm glad you pointed out a few of those things, because like that was going to be the next part of it, is like, okay, so you used to latch on to anyone who gave you attention, but now your standards have gone up in the sense of like they got to have a fairly decent personality and you got to have an emotional connection, and still they need to be cute enough. So cute enough for you to, see yourself spending that future with them, to have a kid, being that is, like you want the American dream of like, you have a house, you have a kid, and stability, and things are all peachy from there. However, the bumps in the road is that this itch is so strong that you're willing to do kind of anything that you can to try and make that happen, or support a relationship that it sounds as though there are certain things that seem off, but the gravitational pull is so strong to get that itch scratched that you don't walk away as early as you could. And I'd say that's evidenced by the most recent relationship with, after that first breakup, I probably should have walked away. And, why did I do that? Why did I continue?
I don't feel like it's a gravitational pull. It's more like, I guess you can phrase it that way, since I have to go see, because I did say like I have to go see what's up, or why didn't she come see me in December or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more of like, it's not like the itch is so bad. It's more no. You said something else. It's more like I can tolerate, some of the, I guess, gray flags or red flags, if you just want to say.
Yeah.
Not that I want to make excuses from her, but it's not like the gravitational pull is so great. It's more like I can tolerate these red flags because I'm pulling myself towards this idea.
The idea or ideal that it will work out, and you want to throw some money at it and pad it with a couple $100,000.
Not $100,000.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Couple
I mean, hey, if you keep this up, like by the time you're 50, you might as well have spent like $100,000, you know, like. But I just, yeah, it's just I'm hearing a pattern of like you choose to be with somebody, and like at first when you're younger, like you just throw out money like no problem, and you're like, oh shit, I can't really afford that, and they don't really care about me. So then you started being more selective, but I'm still hearing that was still kind of happening. It's just they would be a little bit more crafty with how they keep your attention. And you know, it sounds as though I'm hearing this repeating pattern of like we spend a lot of time at first and then it sort of weans off. It's like if they didn't spend like a day a week with you at first, like that would send like you would be like, oh fuck no, right? Because like after that stage of being 19, you're like, I don't do that, they're just trying to use me for my money. But if they weaned it off very slowly, would you notice and would you have a problem with it? Not as much, because it happened really slowly, and that consistency just weaned off. What's the words I'm looking for? Because it was so slow and gradual, it makes it less offensive or bothersome. And I feel as though that you have noticed this.
Yeah.
Just not
Okay.
called it out as much as you should.
All right, let me explain the whole money thing.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of convinced myself it's like a date. So, let's just say like, okay, you got a girl, and she's got her own place, you got yours. All right, cool. Sunday, you guys are gonna go on a date. You have to spend money on gas to go see her.
Mm-hmm.
Spend money on dinner. Let's just say if it's Dutch. All right, where you pay for your meal and she pays for hers, and then you guys can go do something after that or go home or whatever. Let's just say you spent 20 bucks on dinner, a cheap dinner, and then maybe like $2 or $3 on gas, and you left a tip. So let's just say $25.
Mm-hmm.
You spend $25 in one night to go on a date for her, and that was like what, once a week?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going on a date once a week, you're spending $100. That's
$1,200
a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I kind of like thought of it, as of me buying her a gift. Okay, here's $10, babe, for a date. There you go. That will be our date. I don't have to pay for gas. I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to pay for your meal.
Did you ever
that's kind of how I
ask for
justified.
them? You talked about going Dutch. So did they ever follow through with that, or did they want you to pay?
Oh, no. That was an example. As in like, or like, you go Dutch, just to like save money or whatnot.
Yeah. I just wanted to know.
I mean,
did you ever do that with anybody? Like, did they ever pay for themselves, or did they always push it on you?
So there's two different ways I can answer that. There's two different scenarios with two different girls.
Strawl.
Let me.
Yes or no?
There's two different scenarios. There's two. Yes, but it's not the way as Dutch as like we'll go out to eat or paying for stuff. It's not like that. It's a different scenario. So we'll go out to eat one time, and then I'll pay, and then she takes me out, and then she pays, and we do that way.
Okay, yeah.
Or there's been scenarios as whoever initiates the date pays.
Okay.
So let's just say like, Ryan, I ask you on a date.
Did you agree to that, by the way? Did you have a conversation of like whoever initiates pays?
Yes.
Bro. Do you see why I'm pointing that one out? I mean, on top of
Oh,
other things.
that wasn't with this girl. That was with a different girl.
Well, yeah, let me just point this out here. If they know that you have this itch, and girls do, especially the ones who are a little bit darker, they know how much you like them. So for this conversation to happen, like, they don't have to initiate anything because they know you will. So then you're always gonna be
No. No.
no. What happened?
No. So here's what happened with that girl. This is a girl named Livy. All right. So Olivia and I, we met at work. She was a J1 student from Germany. So she came over here to work in America to send back money there. And so I was like, like, can we hang out? Can we date? I never dated like a European girl before, like, since you're here, because you're here for 6 months. And she's like, all right, I can do that. Date for 6 months, see where we go. If we want to break up, we'll break up. If not, it'll be fun. Okay. So I wasn't putting a bunch of emotion feelings into that. So the first, like, 2 or 3 dates, we ate out of work and we both got discounts. So I paid like $40 for 2 meals. And then we went to like another restaurant and she's like, why are you always paying? Like, why don't you have me pay? And I was just like, it's just what Americans do. They have to pay. She's like, how about this? She's like, let's not do that. Whoever wants to go on a date with each other has to pay, and then the other person can leave the tip. And I was like, no, because like, you're never gonna want to go on a date with me again. It's like, you break up with me? And she just laughed. She's like, no. It's like, there's other stuff we can do together without going on a date to eat. We can go to the park, we can hang out, we can watch movies. There's other things we can do without spending money.
Yeah, and I was gonna point that out too. So what happened? Like, she sounded like she was smart enough to kind of mention that to you. What happened with that notion to like not go on money dates?
Okay, so what happened was that she was like getting money taken out of her check just to like live rent, and I was like, how much are you paying? She's like $650 a week. I was like, a week? And she's like, why don't you just come live with me? I have this room that you can stay in. So she stopped paying that and she lived with me. And she had like a separate room that she could just stay in. But that was only for like 3 months and we worked all the time. So I just saw her at work and it was like, we were never really roommates because we didn't really interact. So anytime we'd sit down and watch a movie and she liked to read and I'll just sit on the couch and then she'll come join me and like lay my head in her lap and just like read a book. So that'd be like more time spending time with each other. But pretty much only time we really paid is that when we went out to like eat. So she's like, because she would ask me like, how come we haven't gone out to eat in a while? I was like, well, you haven't asked me. And it was like, I paid for like the last 3 times. And then she got mad. She's like, well, I'm asking you now, so let's go.
Okay.
And like, so I remember what we talked about on that date. So we were talking about why did I wait so long just to ask her out to eat? Because she likes to go out to eat and try different foods while she's in America. And I was like, well, we went on 3 dates and you talked about how, you would ask me out on a date and we just been hanging out with each other. I was like, yo, let's go to the park. Let's go sightseeing. So we did other things that were free. Like we went to a museum one time. We went to go see like Picasso's exhibits. That was in the museum, which is free. Yeah. So like we've been hanging out with each other for the past, month and a half and we haven't really spent any money. And she's like, oh, okay, well, I see your point. So then next week she's like, hey, there's this new restaurant opening. I want to go. It's like, all right, let's go. And it was kind of like a dive bar kind of restaurant where you just have like grilled cheese and things like that. And she paid. And I was like, all right, well, in my head, I'm thinking like, all right, I'm going to cheat her out somewhere nice. because I want to do something nice for her. She's been doing something nice for me. But on this date, we went to a theme park and then a restaurant inside the theme park, which is really, really nice because I had summer passes to go to this theme park. So we went to this nice restaurant, and it was like by the water to where it was away from the attractions, and you can actually just like sit down and talk. I was like, so where did you come up with like this idea of, you know, whoever wants to take someone else out on a date, they pay? She's like, well, I grew up poor, where I lived in Germany, so, you know, a date for me would be like a bottle of vodka. And she's like, once we my parents finally got a place to live, it was always evacuated because they would find World War II bombs under the roads that they would have to evacuate the city and then de-arm the bomb, take the bomb out, and we'd be away for months at a time. And, you know, they put you up in like a stadium or a camp where, you know, it's just you in a very small home. So I wanted to come to America to make money so I could get them out of that situation. And I was just like, all right, well, shit. So when our 6 months came up, I was like, so you're leaving tomorrow. I was like, what does that mean for us? I was like, are you gonna come back? And she's like, well, it's like I want to come back for you, but I don't think I am. I was like, well, how come? Don't you want to make more money and save it back to your parents? She's like, well, the $650 that I was paying per week for my rent, I've been sending to my parents instead. So she's like, having that much money, having them saved up, gave them enough like nest just to move out, find a place, get a steady job, and like they just needed money just as like a nice little nest to actually get their life on track. Like, so my parents are doing well. They said that the money I got them, you know, they rent a nice apartment that's safe from the area that she was. And then so when she moved back, we still kept in touch. But then she ended up meeting a girl over there and moving in with an apartment with her. And then, you know, living in Germany with her. So that was a nice 6-month relationship.
Yeah, so that's it's really interesting to hear that, like, you did spend a decent amount of time with her, but it didn't get that itch scratched. Why do you think that is?
It was like we didn't. I didn't feel like we actually got to have a nice relationship, as in like, you know how you see like they both have the weekends off together. You know, they get to do stuff because we try to make plans go out like once a week, but it was more of like
that's still like I'm still confused.
I wanted more of the experience where we actually got to live with each other, not just we lived each other at work.
So
because we would go home, because she would go home, she would shower, sleep, and then get ready for work the next day. I would come home, she would already be in bed. I would shower, go to sleep, and then I would sleep until work the next day. So I didn't feel like I was actually living with her.
So that goes back to what is enough.
Where I'm like interacting with them outside of work, like in the house, and
how much time?
You know, not
or days.
I don't know. It's hard to answer. I just don't want us to feel like we're both ghosts in a house.
If you were to give like
it would just.
So like, let's say you're sitting down with a girl and you're negotiating, right? Like you're negotiating between your life obligations. How many like hours or days a week would leave you feeling satisfied?
Okay. I feel like if we started to date 3 months, 3 more months, because I feel like most people don't start showing themselves until after 3 months. And because she always kept her room neat and cleaned, and she washed sheets and everything like that. Like, I didn't have to do anything in her room. It looked the exact same way as as I left it. Bed tucked in, sheets are clean, no trash in there, nothing.
Not answering the question.
I don't know, like 2 days each week, something.
Okay, so
for 3 months.
So something, right? So that tells me 2 days minimum. Am I hearing that right? 2 days minimum.
I guess so. It's hard to answer that question because I don't know the answer myself. Yeah. Because we were both ghosts in the house because she'd be at work before me and she would leave work before me.
Does this apply to
I would get
other
up.
relationships you've been in? Where has it been less than 2 days?
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, I mean, it's not really a problem. Like, I'm just waiting till December. I just came on here because, like, I wanted to help you with your research and help other people with, maybe they have problems that they just can't address. Personally, I don't feel like I have any problems.
Mm-hmm. So the pattern of wanting to be in a relationship and hopefully it blossom to where you could see each other 2 days or more per week, and spending money periodically, and then the eventual weaning off, and then the eventual breakup over the course of multiple relationships. And to me it seems as though, like, the women that you meet can tell that you really want a relationship, and then they just kind of, you know, use you or just take the money that you're offering them, and then, like, once they're no longer interested,
or I let them take advantage of me.
Yeah, so, like, that would be something to work on, because if you really do want a long-term relationship, no one's going to invest in someone who doesn't respect themselves. And that's why I mentioned you getting in your own way. And that's why, you know, as much as me being a cock right now, it's not that I'm, like, intentionally trying to be mean. It's like I'm trying to help you not get in your own way. You know?
Well, if anything, that is the problem that is here, because I will get in my own way about things in life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've been procrastinating filling out job applications to get a better paying job.
And you did that. You know, you took those steps, and you found work. That was step one.
Well, another job from this one, I want to get a better position in the hospital that I work at from this current one. So I just haven't put in the job application yet. So honestly, that's my only problem from this whole conversation. Just getting in my own way.
No
that's the
way.
That I see.
No way. No way. I have no sir. No way. Listen, I just want to walk away knowing that you will at least consider that you hold everybody that you meet to those check boxes, and you don't spend excessive amounts of money on them. In fact, challenge yourself to not spend any money at all, because if you don't spend money on them and they still like you, that would be a sure sign that, you know, they're more invested in you. But
I haven't spent any money on them in this past year.
I mean,
For almost 6 months, I haven't spent any money on them.
Okay.
The last time
Stick
Okay,
to that.
so the
then.
last time
Stick to that then.
the last time I spent money on them. Their bank thought they were laundering money for a scammer, and they froze their bank account. So I haven't sent money to them at all. Since,
so that's an external reason.
Since December.
This needs to come from within. Cause
I don't want to spend money on her, so I don't lock her fucking bank account or send her stuff from Amazon that she doesn't want.
Someone needs to slap you with this fucking statement. Okay, man, listen. You're not
Doc,
going.
what do you want from me?
You're not going to find someone who's going to invest in you if you continue to just throw money at the wrong people. They take advantage of you, and then, you know, they lead you on for a while, and then they break up with you, and it's like this repeating cycle.
I think we're both mentally fatigued. She's already invested in me.
I'm only pointing that out because you've mentioned multiple relationships of spending money. This one, the 10-year thing, sounds like other ones.
Yes. That's when I was 19.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. 29 now.
And like you notice it yourself with being on that RP server. You know,
yes.
you are that guy that's coming to your female character, but in real life or just with relationships.
But what's wrong with seeing it as I'm spending money on a date, like I'm buying her dinner, versus I'm buying her an outfit from Amazon?
The lack of reciprocation and the lack of true investment. If you're not seeing her 2 days a week and like you could tell that she's emotionally invested and has more to offer than physical traits, then yeah, then like it might be safer to say that that's like a real relationship. I'm not saying you just don't spend like any money for like dates or whatnot, but if she's not doing the same and she's not reciprocating, it's clearly a one-sided and transactional relationship.
So yeah, okay, I get that, but it's not like that. You know, I understand that you don't want me to fall for that one-sided relationship, but it's nice to know that, okay, one, I have someone there, and two, if something really bad does happen, like my family had my mom and dad had a huge argument, and I told her about it, and then she immediately responded within like, I don't say immediately, like two or 3 days. I can't make 3 this hand.
2 to 3 days.
And for like, whoa, yeah.
That's when somebody really cares about you.
That's the best I'm gonna get. That's the best I'm gonna get. Okay, for right now. Yes, I understand. When someone really cares about you, they'll just, you know, pick up the phone. They'll call you
right away.
I can't even get my own cousins. I can't even get my own cousins to do that. Like, I'll call my cousins and it'll just go straight to voicemail. I'll send them a text and they won't respond for like 2 days, 3 days. Oh, that sucks. I'm sorry. Oh, you know, hey, I heard your dad's in the hospital. He's okay. You know, 2 or 3 days later, hey, haven't heard from you. What's up with you and your dad? Are you okay?
Strawl,
like,
do you feel unlovable?
No, I just feel like I have expectations that people can't meet. So I don't expect anything from them.
That's completely reasonable to want to spend 2 days a week, and if something's really bothering you or something bad happens to you, that they respond right away. I think that's unfortunate that you haven't found people in your life that shows you that, you know, tender love and care. And
yes, no, I have not found a woman to place my head on her chest and pet my head and tell me everything was going to be okay. I have not met that woman yet.
That makes more sense if you haven't really known what a truly caring person looks like. how could you know? And it sounds as though you if this is the best you can get or best you can do, then like your expectations are actually really warped. And because you don't know what a good person looks like, you don't hold anybody to those standards. And if your expectations are warped and you are used to hanging around people who respond in a couple days or even longer than that, which represents people not caring, you're like, oh, this is normal. And you don't choose to surround yourself with people who do better than that because you deserve better than that. You're like, you're a good guy. Investigating and enforcing your standards. Or better standards, rather.
Because I don't care. And because it's just too much effort.
And you're afraid of risking the relationship for communicating your wants and needs.
That too, I would say, risking the relationship. But mainly because I just don't care.
Well, yeah, because it's been so long.
I want more of this to work out than to find out that, okay, she had lupus, alright, you lied, whatever, or she didn't lie, whatever.
You want to be with somebody that respects you and has your best interest in mind. And that would kind of start with really staying away from giving away so much money and waiting for some reciprocation.
Are you telling me to break up with them?
With the current relationship? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, don't be afraid to call out the red flags and to talk about it and to ask for those medical papers and to stop giving money to this person or other people that you're seeing and see how they respond. Because if they leave or lose interest right away, like, that was never real. They were just, as you know, in that RP role, you're like, well, shit, if they're giving me money, I guess I'll just go with it, you know, until they start doing something really weird, or I you know, get tired of them. You know, I want to go do quests, or the girl equivalent is like, I want to go live my life or date other people. You know, they're wanting to do quests
right.
too. So it just doesn't really benefit you to throw so much of your resources and time and emotions into people when they don't reciprocate. Like, they gotta be just as invested, and I just keep hearing that you don't care. You're like, I'm so used to people not giving as much as I do.
No. So I get all that. I get all that. I have a very unique way of convincing myself otherwise, and you know, I don't know if this is the best she can do. Maybe she could do better. I don't know, but to me, I've convinced myself this is the best she can do, and that's all I can ask from her. And if I'm not okay with that, then I need to move on.
Well, you weren't okay with it before, and then you broke up for 2 months because you communicated a basic need, and she wasn't having it.
Right, because I wasn't okay with it. But then
if you were to ask for her papers to prove why she's spending so little time, that would be too much. Like, I mean, I think it's fairly reasonable that if you're only spending once a month for 2 hours, nothing more than that, that, like, hey, so I kind of want to see if you really have this disease, because, like, something doesn't feel right. And if she were a mature adult, she would understand that and be like, okay, here. Or she would send you, you know, pictures or things to prove it. Show her her back.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really care about that stuff anymore, to be honest. It's more like I want her to get better fucking internet so we can actually talk more without Discord disconnecting 30 times in 2 hours.
The conclusion was, working on self-reliance with yourself, not procrastinating, going for a better job. In relationships, you said if this doesn't work out, that you'd be a bachelor for a year and, you know, kind of take things from slower moving forward, enforce your standards, and you wouldn't do long distance relationships again. So the statement part, if you were to give advice, guidance, or a statement to everyone, what would you say?
Relationship wise, that it's okay to have wants and needs. You know, if you can tell your partner about your wants and needs, and if they really care about you, they'll listen to them and they'll try to, you know, help you fulfill those. Even if like you are trying to be more like self-reliant or self-sufficient, it's okay to want those things and to have those things. Oh, yeah, there's a wand back here. Take your fairy princess wand. It shoots fireworks.
Ooh. Amazing.
Have you ever thought about how you would propose to someone if you actually met the right person?
Huh. Kind of. I'm not like a big fan of marriage, but like I would do something sentimental like that.
Yeah, I'm more of I would want to actually like be engaged for a while and just like jump right into marriage.
Ooh.
The person that I'm with, she likes the cold. I would go on top of like a lighthouse with her, maybe like somewhere like cold, like Alaska or something. And just say like, you know, like all the stars in the sky, why would I waste time looking at them when I have, you know, the most beautiful girl next to me? Something cheesy like that.
Yeah, but that's a good kind of cheesy though. As long as it comes from the heart. I've thought about those things before, but then I sort of go to, why put so much time and effort into one event when I can put that energy into each day and each moment that we have together, so that
Well,
all of our moments
I can answer that.
are enjoyable and wonderful.
Well, I mean, that's noble, but if you do that, then that becomes the norm, and that just becomes expected. So, by definition, if that's the norm, then it doesn't really, like, make it special. So,
Well, I mean, in essence, it's just, you know, enjoying each other's time together, making each other laugh and smile on, like, a regular basis.
Yeah, I mean, that's nice. Yeah. No, I get what you're saying, but I was just saying, like, you start spending money on a girl, then you know, that's just going to come norm. She's always going to expect you to spend money on her.
Yeah.
Versus, you know, you spending money on one time, she's not going to expect it just one time.
Yeah, the money part is something that is really a slippery slope, and I would be more vested in time and an emotional connection. You know, understanding what makes her tick, what, you know, makes her light up and happy to be alive. I'd invest time in doing things that help fuel that and help her to be a better person, more so than singular events. But if something comes to mind and I want to do it, yeah, I'll do it.
Fair enough.